be like this. It seems like this, probably this far right here.
Yeah, as long as your audio levels are good.
But do you got like a questionnaire or what's going on?
No, we're just gonna go.
Go.
All right, here we go.
Ready for takeoff.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Ozone Lair podcast. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Once again, make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you comment. We need all the activity we can on these episodes, and stay tuned for more. We got the homie Dennis to my right over here, like always.
What's up? What it do, Rick? Hey, man. Glad to be back on the set as always, man. What's up? What's up, everybody? Like Rick said, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Give us some love. Show us some love. Out here, based out of KC. Today, man, I'm excited about this one, bro. This one is going to be a special one for sure. We have a homie that we known for a long time, right? And this cat, man, he's special. I can't wait for you guys to hear about him. But he is a data center ops manager. He is a music producer. He is the president and CEO of Voz Muzic. He is involved with all sorts of initiatives. He's definitely an entrepreneur. You guys can learn a lot from him. Este vato, Rick, pega duro, masca chicle y tiene chicas de a montón. El vato se llama Voz. Voz, bienvenido al Ozone Lair Media, man. Welcome back to KC, homie. What's up?
What's good?
What's going on, bro?
That's a good intro. Eh?
Oh, thank you.
But it's VOZ, okay? Get it right. VOZ Voz, all right? But it's good. It's good to be in the house. It feels like home. It feels like I never left, And it's surreal. I still feel like I'm not even here,
Yeah.
But obviously under difficult circumstances, but I think it's important that we make it in the good times and definitely in the bad times. If we're missing the bad times, then we ain't really good friends.
For the people that don't know, VOZ is one of the biggest reasons why the music trajectory that I went through. He was the reason why. He's one of the reasons why that was able to flourish the way that it did. VOZ has been with me since like 2008 when it came to recording the music. It's also how I know Dennis. We were all involved in a music group together a long time ago, and VOZ ended up moving to Washington State over time, and we've continued to be friends and have conversations. And like he said, since we're here, we're gonna have a podcast, man. Kick it. Talk about stories.
It's only right that we do.
Bro, it's crazy because most people don't know that about me, but that is a little fun fact. We did used to do music together, and it's crazy looking back because much like you said, it just doesn't seem like it was even like my story. You know what I'm saying? Like it just like now looking back, it's like, man, did we really go through that, man? Because that was some fun times, man. I really enjoyed them times, man. I mean, I remember like we was up to like 4 or 5 in the morning doing music at Boss's studio, and just heck, Emily, my 17-year-old daughter, she was like 2 years old at the time, and she'd be sleeping in the room next door. So like, bro, it was wild. It was cool, man. I really enjoyed those times, man. You guys certainly brought an artistic side out of me that I didn't even know I had. But that goes to show you that sometimes, man, when you interact with people and you meet the right people, those people bring out in you something that you didn't know you had, man, which is cool. So I appreciate those times, and I appreciate both of you guys for sure.
Yeah. So how's it going in Washington, bro?
Washington's great. It's my hometown. It's the place where I grew up. I was born in Aberdeen, Washington. I grew up in a little town called Quincy. At the time, less than maybe 6,000 people. Today, it's probably less than 10,000, but it's home to, the new Silicon Valley is what they call it. Silicon Valley's out in San Francisco, California, and the LA Times wrote back in, 2012, 2013, saying the new Silicon Valley is in Quincy, Washington. And I just got lucky to be able to go back home and be able to work and find my career in IT. but it started here in Kansas City, so I owe it to Kansas City because my trajectory started here. You know, I graduated high school here. As you guys know, that's how I met Rick. I actually met Rick through my brother. You know, my brother. Damn, that's a big ass spider. Oh man, I haven't seen one of those motherfuckers in forever.
You got to come to the Midwest to find those.
No, kill it. Kill that motherfucker. Bro, you're gonna just let it.
Bro, that poor thing ain't doing nothing to nobody. She's probably more scared of you than you of her.
You think she stopped in her tracks because she's scared of us?
Fuck yeah. No, she's trying to be part of the fucking podcast.
No, she's like, which dumb motherfucker am I gonna get? Oh my God. Oh, if you guys could see this, oh my.
Bro.
Oh, dude, my heart sank.
My goodness, bro.
My heart, like, feel my heart. Like, it's pounding.
Bro, hang on. Let's rewind a little bit. You're Mexican American, right?
Yeah. Well, I like to call myself Mexican fully 100%. My dad is from Jalisco, my mom.
But hang on. But you were
like, yeah. I'm born in America, but I'm Mexican.
I get that, man. But I'm telling you something, man, about being born in a third world country, man. You ain't fucking scared of spiders when you grow up.
Hey, I used to.
Matter of fact, spiders were part of the background all the time, man. I tell you what, back in Guatemala, it's just how it was, man. I pay no mind to bugs, man. It's almost like I don't even see them.
Though my two worst fears, spiders and snakes. My worst way of dying is drowning. I'd rather burn, crash, whatever, but drowning is the worst.
So will you consider yourself arachnophobic?
You know,
what?
Arachnophobic, scared of spiders, you know, or anything with more than 8 legs, basically. Arachnophobic. Oh, or is it anything more than 8 legs or all spiders?
I think it's spiders.
It's
just spiders, yeah. No, I think...
What if you're just scared of bugs?
Insectophobic?
I don't know. I don't know that term.
Yeah,
I just know that one. But are you? I'm
not. It's not a phobia. It's not a phobia. Like okay. I've definitely had a spider crawl on me while I was driving one day, and I freaked the fuck out. But I mean, I wasn't gonna die because of it, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, going back. So you know, Kansas City is where I started, right? Like I met, you know, Rick through my brother who at the time worked at Taco Bueno. I don't even know if Taco Bueno exists anymore. I think Rick told me on the way here that it's Popeyes now or something.
Yeah.
And, you know, my brother came to me in 2007, you know, around 2007. And he said, hey, you know, I met this dude at work and I heard he makes beats and it seems like he knows how to rap pretty good. He like, maybe you should link up with him and you guys can exchange ideas and make some music. And so, you know, as much as, you know, as much as I like to think that, you know, Quincy or where I was, you know, born contributed to all of this, it's really thanks to my brother connecting us in that day. We actually met at our Catholic church. We met at a photo day. It was like a picture day. And we got introduced and we went to his Buick. He had a Buick at the time. And we went into his car. He popped in his CD or cassette player or whatever. And he popped in some beats and we just started rapping. He started rapping and I started rapping and I was like, all right, we're gonna make music now. Like in my head, I was thinking like we're gonna make music. Like this is the person. He just, you know, when I met him, dude was just dropping some sophisticated ass shit. We were 17 years old, right? Like, and this dude was already just writing ahead of his time. So it just inspired me, right? And to meet someone in this area that we had common interest. You know, forever my brother used to make fun of me because he always used to say like, bro, you can't rap. Like, stop, you can't rap, right? And I was secretly always rapping when I was a kid. And my brother always used to be like, man, get better. Like, you suck, you know? and he's like, I hope you don't go and show people that, right? And so forever I had this like fear of even coming out and coming out and being like, I like to rap, right? And pause, right?
Coming out the closet.
Coming out the closet with the microphone.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, and after I met Rick. It was on like every weekend, every day, as much as we could. We were in the studio trying to develop. I remember I got a cracked version of Fruity Loops 5 at the time and started playing with it, you know what I mean? And Rick taught me how to make beats.
No, you started the recording side.
Yeah,
Because I was already making beats on FL Studio.
Yeah.
But we didn't know how to record vocals.
Yeah.
And then I remember you came in and you downloaded, I can't remember what program it was. I think it was
Mixpad.
It was Mixpad. And we had a stage mic wrapped around the curtain rod, dropping down the curtain.
Yeah.
And that's how we started recording our first fucking little songs.
Yeah.
You know?
Until we learned how to do it on FL Studio. And that's what it was.
Well, I think at the time FL Studio didn't have the ability to do production and record.
Exactly, yeah. And FL Studio 5 was really mainly just for beats at the time. And I remember through a friend in school, he gave me a cracked version of Fruity Loops, FL Studio 5. And then I ended up getting auto-tune also through a cracked version and another friend. Just networking with people and just talking to people. I've always just tried to meet as many people as I could and see what they can offer and what I can offer them. I was just trying to learn. I was just a sponge my whole life. I just been a sponge, just trying to learn. And it's still to this day is what I do is learn, you know, and then it bounced, right? Like we fast forward, I worked for T-Mobile and I met this woman. We won't name names, but I met this woman that came in and she was paying her bill. And I was, like 18 or something, 18, 19. And she asked me out for drinks. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's go. And I was single, so it's nothing. I meet up with her and we meet at a Longhorn Steakhouse. And then there's another woman with her. And it happened to be Dennis's mom. And
shout out to moms.
Yeah, shout out to moms, man. She's always been a real one since day one. And she's like, you need to meet my son, Dennis. You remind me so much of my son, Dennis. You remind me so much of my son, Christian. You need to meet them both. I would like to, introduce you. When do you have time? And literally that was on a Friday evening. By the following Wednesday, I met Dennis in downtown or North Kansas City at a little bistro.
Yeah.
Damn,
you got good memory. I didn't even remember that.
We met at a little bistro.
Damn.
And that's how I got introduced to Dennis. Dennis told me about his brother Christian, who goes by El Nino, and he's like, you gotta meet my brother. And then I was like, yeah, let's go. He's like, all right. What he didn't tell me is he was taking me to Liberty Jail.
Yeah, he was locked up at the time.
So he was locked up at the time, And
shout out to my brother as well. He's recovering at KU, had a major crash, and so sending some positive vibes, some love.
Yeah, unfortunately he couldn't be here, man. I almost feel like we're leaving him out by doing this, but anyways, and that's how it started, right? I met Nino in jail, right? We went, checked in, and I met him behind, the glass, and he rapped for me on the phone, Dennis introduced me and he's like, hey man, this dude's making music with this other guy. And I think, he can help you out and record your album. And he already had some music. And really my goal was just try to put a group together, right? Like just put a group together because I knew that my strength wasn't being the lyricist, my strength wasn't being the best producer or the best beat maker. My strength really was putting people together and running the business side of it. Mm-hmm. But I enjoyed being creative and I enjoyed rapping too. So I really learned from all of you guys. Like I learned a lot from Rick. I learned a lot from you. I learned a lot from Nino. And then you guys just, man, vocabulary is just on another level. And so you guys inspired me to always be better too,
To write
more,
mm-hmm.
And I was writing obviously at the time, but my style was really influenced by Washington rappers. I actually have a cousin, shout out, Wa State Suspects from Washington State. They used to be a pretty big name in our county, in our city, and they made some noise. My cousin Pee Wee, we were rapping since we were like 6 years old, and really it just starts from there. He just happened to kind of make the leap and start, and then really I only got the courage to do it here, because I met Rick, and Rick was the shy guy, like introvert, didn't really want to talk to anybody. And so I was like, my challenge is getting him out of his box,
Who would have thought he turned out to be a podcaster?
Yeah, right? Exactly. But, like I feel like I just tried to bring the best out in everybody as much as I could, and like I said, I owe it to Kansas City, right? Like the music. And the reason why we're here today is because of the music, right? Like, and obviously our friendship, just because we're, 7-8 states away, on the other side of the world, or the United States doesn't mean that, our friendship died. Like it's, I always say that the realest friendships are the ones that you can go a long time without speaking. And then the moment that you meet up, it's like you never left. You just start where you paused, right? Like pausa y comerciales, and then here we go. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's back to it. And
no, I feel like the only reason we're not kicking this because we don't live around each other.
Of course,
but I mean, even from the time when you were around, when Dennis came around, me and Dennis still hang out.
Yeah,
even sometimes I rotate between Dennis and Christian.
Yeah,
because for some reason all three of us together just never happens.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
so you'll be bouncing around like a ping pong, huh?
Yeah. But so how is it being a Chiefs fan in Washington, bro?
Surprising. Everybody always says, you're a fucking bagwagoner or whatever. I'm like, you guys don't know that, I'm born in Washington. I grew up in Washington. But I never liked football when I was a kid. Like, the closest thing I knew to football was on Sega when I played fucking, what is that, Madden, on Sega. And I used to pick the Cowboys because that was the America's team, you know what I mean?
So you weren't a football fan before you came to Kansas City.
I wasn't. But when I came to Kansas City.
Washington did win a Super Bowl before KC.
Yeah, of course. Of course,
you didn't.
I still have nothing but love and pride for the Seattle Seahawks in Washington and the Evergreen State, right? Like that's my hometown, that's my home state. I'm always gonna have nothing but love and respect, and I support the Seahawks. Like it's my second team, right? Like when my Chiefs fail me, my Seattle Seahawks got to pick me up, even though they suck this year, but whatever, don't tag me, motherfuckers.
Rebuild, man. You gotta
rebuild. But Chiefs is where I found the love, right? Like I got the opportunity to go tailgating at the Chiefs Stadium. I got the opportunity to go to Royals game. I got the opportunity to go to Mizzou college football, KU, the Jayhawks football.
Rock Chalk, baby.
I got to go to Rockhurst games, football games, the Catholic school, college. I just had so many friends from so many different walks of life. And I just got a lot of different opportunities. And I was a kid that was curious, I took advantage of every opportunity, right? When someone presented me with something, I made time for it, right? Like, what people don't understand is that when I was here, I was picking up Rick, I was picking up Christian, trying to get Dennis organized so his ex-wife could let him out the house, because he was tied down from the leash, Like I had to put everything together, right? And then we met another crew of rappers too from Topeka, Kansas, and then I linked everybody up, right? And it's just
shout out Chooch, shout out
Q, Chooch, fucking
JK.
That's Chooch.
That's Chooch.
J
Kane and Lucky
and
was,
Yogi.
Lucky was out of there too.
Yeah, I didn't get to meet Lucky. Shout out Lucky. I know he's gone into the dog game, into the dog breeding game, which I'm involved in as well. And I never got to meet him, but I heard he's a good dude, and I see him doing good things. So shout out to him. You know, but I haven't seen Q and Chooch or J Kane or Yogi in a long time. You guys remember Carlos Blanco?
I think Q's driving a Zion Cube.
You know,
Q in the cube.
Q in the cube, man. So yeah, I mean that's how it started, right? Like music is what got us here. Music is what brought us together, and you know, it's not like we weren't going places, but I think I fucked it up by getting into a relationship. That's really what caused.
That's what sent you back to Washington.
That's what sent. Well, it actually. Well, you know, it sent me back to California, right? Not back to, but it sent me to California after Kansas City.
Right.
You know, I arrived here in 2005. I graduated high school, went to college, graduated college, and then I left to California right after. And it was, I had just organized the Kansas City. What was that Latin festival that you guys were involved with, where you guys switched your name to?
They still do it, Fiesta.
Is
that for Cinco de Mayo? Or?
They still do
it.
It
was so that was the last show that I had organized.
Remember,
you know,
I remember they was trying to make us underwear model.
Yeah, that was the last show that I had organized. Right, like up until that point, every single show I put it together. I networked, I reached out, I paid for the shows, I did whatever we needed to do. I got us there.
Remember the Beaumont?
The Beaumont was a fucking shit, you know?
That's a crazy one, because we actually ended up winning that contest, but it was a shady contest.
It was.
So we didn't get no prize, but we sold the most tickets.
Exactly. We sold the most tickets. We were the best in the room. We came with it, you know what I mean? Like, we were just a force. You know, we were a force of nature. Like when people met us and they heard us, it was inspiring, bro.
I remember when we had that show in Topeka, bro, with Q.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the club was. But
that was a dope show.
But you had set yourself up behind the stage somehow to come out of some stairs.
Yeah, and pop out.
You didn't come out until your verse came on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were all laughing because, like, bro, don't nobody know us. No one's waiting for you to come out.
Hey, I needed
bro, there was more people on the stage that actually watching.
We were performing for Q and Chinky.
Nah, but that was you know, I always, regardless of how small we were, or we thought we were, or maybe, I always felt like we were big, right?
Yo, Rick, this is what I was telling you about the distortion field of reality.
Explain it.
Yeah, so basically it's like exaggerating your reality until it becomes real. And that's what you know, Voz was back then. He was really trying to keep us, you know what I'm saying, engaged, and he's always had this, like, you know, this crazy vision, right? Like these big visions, these big audacious ideas. And I think that's what, you know, keeps the needle moving, because at the end of the day, man, like, you gotta have those. You have to have something big in that horizon in order for you to get up every day and continue to grind, you know. And that's one thing I do admire about this cat, man, that he does do that, you know, that you'll never see him like give up on his dreams. You always see him persistent, going after it. And, you know, that there's a lot to say about that, because 10 years later, you know, look at where he's at and what he's doing.
Right.
And that goes to show you that sometimes, yeah, you have to exaggerate your reality. Sometimes you have to fake it until you make it. You know what I mean? And that's okay. There ain't nothing wrong with it. But I do look back at those times, and there's a lot of memorable moments, man. I actually remember when I first heard "Understand Me." That's when I knew it was something special, because that's a track that Rick actually manufactured, and you know, with Voz's production. But you know, that fucking track, man, hit hard. That track hit hard. I was like, damn, man. I was like, that's some good shit right there, man.
Yeah.
I wish you still had that, man. Like, I don't even think you got it in your files anywhere.
Yeah, he does.
It's still in there.
It still exists.
Man, we gotta dust that shit off and bring it out, man. Like,
It's
because that shit is fire, man.
Yeah, and just for the record, understand me. Rick produced it. It was a self-produced song. He wrote and produced it and engineered it. And dude is just an amazing producer overall. He's just a great creative. He's always just been. Man, he's always just been looking for what's next and what's new, and he would spend so much time trying to craft something. And what I've always loved about it is that he's always into the details. And as much as I hated it back then, I still hate it today. But I hated it because, it would elongate the process, right? Just make it longer, and it would take us longer to do things. But in reality, at the end of the day, man, it was just a masterpiece by the time that it was done,
Mm-hmm.
And obviously in today's world, speed is king, right? But back then, we were putting out the highest quality that we could put out and the best, content that we could put out. And Understand Me is just one of those songs that is just, if it played today on the radio, people wouldn't know that it's 20 years old.
It was he was definitely ahead of his time. And that's what I was like, man, I was surprised that Rick didn't continue with music, and he does, and every so often still does, right? But this guy can.
I like how you guys are talking like I'm not here.
No, but check it out. Check it out. This guy.
Well, see you, fool, but it's because, those glasses are too dark, eh?
This guy can produce, he can write, he can spit in English and Spanish, low, fast, make, you know what I'm saying, sing even. Now he fucking does corridos también a la...
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? It's just, he's very versatile, man. I haven't met an artist that's got as much versatility as Rick does.
It's, I don't know, bro. It's just a matter of creativity. Like, I think the whole music shift from doing music to this now was more of an age thing for me. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of stopped seeing myself as like a rapper or an artist or a person that was trying to be on stage. Because
Why you think that you were like too old to do music?
I felt like I was outgrowing myself too fast. And I was outgrowing my music too fast. And by the time it was time to push my music, I wasn't even that person anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, and I've always made personal music. I never made music just for a reason, or you know what I'm saying? So like it just...
Well, you made it for a reason.
I made it for a reason, but the reason was always me. And when it came down to making music that was, modern and for a purpose, it was always hard for me to do that.
Right.
But that was the reason why I was able to make songs like Understand Me, because at the time when I made that song, that's what I was living. I was facing deportation, and it was a guaranteed deportation. Even though my brother was legal, like they didn't care because he was so young. They were like, he can adjust. You know what I'm saying? But from the grace of God, something that me and Freddie got involved in ended up changing that situation completely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
right.
But at the time, it was like, I'm going back to Mexico. This is what the song's going to be about.
Are you able to share what happened with you and...
Yeah, so we got jumped in high school. You know what I'm saying? It was supposed to be a one-on-one, and eventually it didn't turn out that way. And, VOZ ended up helping me out. And in the process, more guys got it.
And if I may recap, I mean, this is something you guys told me. Actually, Freddie got his face smashed and ended up breaking your bone, so right?
Freddie got hit unknowingly, from a guy that kind of
blindsided.
He kind of ran up on him, and he got blindsided and broke his orbital bone, cheekbone.
Yeah.
And
that's a real friend right there.
Man, I'm telling you, when I remember getting up, and I knew Freddie was in it, because I remember when I was getting like stomped and shit, I remember his feet. I remember seeing his feet running around. So I knew that he was in the picture.
I was getting my Oscar de la Hoya on.
Yeah. And I remember when I first got up, when I first got the chance to get up, the first thing that came to my mind was like, where's Freddie? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, if I'm able to get up and he's out there getting stomped, I'm going to go help him. Mm-hmm. And, I saw Freddie over there, dusting himself off, getting up. And the first thing I saw was like the fracture on his face.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And as a friend, and as a close friend, because not only was I close to Fred, but I was also close to his family. It was a complete disappointment for myself because I was just like, look what I looked at Freddie and I was like, look what I did. Like that, I did that. You know, in my head, I'm like, look at what I've done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you know, like that's not for a person that's never seen a face fracture like that. It's kind of traumatizing for the first time because you know the face shifts, it changes it and it's scary, bro. The first thing I thought I was like brain damage, vision damage. And you know what I'm saying? Permanent damage. Like that was my first thought, and I blame myself completely because of it. And I remember Freddie didn't know yet. You know, he hadn't seen his face yet. And I don't know did you feel anything at that moment?
No, I didn't. I didn't feel anything. You know, when it happened, I remember like it was yesterday. I remember, you know, it was probably like 10 o'clock the night before when Rick called me. He said, "Hey, I heard in you know, from people in school, they're saying that they're gonna jump me tomorrow, you know, and these fools from."
And I told Freddie, I was like, Freddie used to pick me up sometimes, and I told him I was like, just come pick me up, don't get involved.
What was the beef about?
Some bitch,
some dumb shit. Not even that. It was some destruction of property that was at my house over a bitch. So
yeah, like I said, some bitch.
Yeah. So it was initiated by
a
female.
Bitch.
It was initiated by a female, but I didn't have a problem until they destroyed my dad's property. Property.
Yeah.
And that's when it touched me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out who it was. And once I found out who it was, I went and called them out. And then boom, they got other people involved. And that's when I started hearing those rumors. And then I told Freddie, I was like, hey, bro, just come pick me up.
That shit happened here in Belton?
Take me to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Belton was doing it like that back then?
Belton was lit.
What?
Belton was lit. When I
wouldn't even expect.
When I touched down here, man, it was lit. Shit. The first week that I got to Raymore, when I lived in Raymore, man, we got into it.
The streets was hot.
Got into it with the whole. I got into it. I didn't know Rick yet, you know, but I had some white boy friends, and the fucking first week, man, we all got into a brawl at a party. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not no fighter, bro. Like at that time, I'm a scrawny ass motherfucker. Like I'm nobody, right? And now I'm over here like, shit, I gotta defend my homie and myself. So you gotta learn, right? Like you just you know, and I never been afraid to learn, you know, and I definitely never ran away from a fight, you know, not a physical one or not a roadblock or not a challenge, you know.
Yeah, but you know, God works in mysterious ways, man. Like that was a thing that I was hiding out of my case because I was scared. It was a encounter with the police. It was a, you know, misconduct. So I was like trying to hide it out of my case, but because of all the circumstances that were involved with that case, because of how it happened, because of who was involved, and all the criminal charges that the opposite people had, it ended up helping my case.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
it's a blessing in disguise.
It's a blessing in disguise, man.
Yeah, man. That's how it is, man.
And that was right before I met you guys.
Yeah.
So I ended up.
We hadn't met them yet?
No. This was in 2007 when this happened. It was in November of 2007 or September of 2007, roughly. And I met you guys in 2008, roughly like right after the winter, maybe early spring, you know?
Yeah.
Or actually it was probably like right in the beginning, like January, February. Anyways.
Who would have thought that out of that situation something good would have came out? Because now Rick.
Bro, if that wouldn't have happened, I'd be in Mexico.
Yeah, and that's some crazy shit. Have you guys ever heard of the fable of the farmer and the kid? I can't recap it exactly, but it says it was some along the lines where like, you know, the farmer and his kid, and you know they had a horse, right? They used to plow the land and stuff, and you know, the horse ran away, right? And the kid was like, "Hey, dad, you know, like this horse got away, man. This is bad. We're not gonna be able to plow the land." And the dad is like, "Could it be bad? Maybe. We don't know." Right? Then the horse leaves and comes back with another bunch of horses, wild horses, and then, you know, and then they're like, "Oh, dad, you know, the horse came back." You know, with a bunch of horses, and now they have more horses, and so you know, there's more to the fable, right? Where, but the moral of the story is that sometimes blessings really do come in different ways, you know, that at the time don't seem
Makes
like they
sense.
are. You know, but that's cool, man. I'm glad that it ended up working out for you, that you were able to, you know, fix your status. And but during that time, man, you had a lot of certain like animosity, some sort of like animosity. I feel like in you, Rick, and you expressed a lot of that in your music at the time.
Yeah, I think it was at the time it was I mean, it was always my outlet. You know, that's why I think Freddie was able to identify with it when he heard me rap the first time. He knew that I wasn't just trying to make up something. I was actually
Saying
he was able to know who I was based on what I was saying. And I think that during that time, you know, when you guys came in and were being competitive, because we were competitive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Christian Nino was one of the best fucking lyricists that I had ever had to fucking make a track with at the time. You know what I'm saying? And then you came in and you wrote some of the craziest Spanish fucking shit I've ever heard.
That shit challenged.
And I was versatile. You know, I could spit in English and I could spit in Spanish, and I couldn't hide at that time.
Yeah.
Because before it was like I can hide in Spanish if I can't write in English. But you know, if I did a song,
you guys are the best of both worlds.
You know, but Dennis would fucking murder the Spanish, bro. Like multi-syllable rhyming. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just insane, the skill level. So at that time I was like, bro, I have to, like, if I'm not gonna be super lyrical, I gotta have a message that's like stupid heavy. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, like some of the shit that I would feel, I know, you know, not everyone would relate to it. So it was just shit that I would come up in between songs that we would do, you know, and then you guys would come over and be like, check this out, bro. And then boom.
All right. No, man, fuck, dude. It's crazy, man, because once we all start getting into the studio, man, like the kind of, you know, like just the energies and shit, and there ended up coming out with some crazy lyrics, man. Nino, he said that motherfucker's a spitter, man. And you, Rick, you always had it, man. And you know, Freddie, man, fuck, I was like, dude, I miss those days, and I wish we still had all those tracks for real, man.
Well, we do have a lot of them, you know. We still do have a lot of them, and we just never put out everything, right? Like that was, I think, at the time, right? Like the machine was myself, right? And I'm trying to figure out how to deal with your guys' fucking split personalities, because all you motherfuckers were, you know, so competitive. You know, you would say something, this fool's trying to rewrite his shit. He would say something, you're trying to rewrite your shit. Nino's trying to rewrite. And the weird part is that none of you guys actually knew that you were doing that, but I knew because I'm watching and you guys are entrusting in me, right? Like you guys are venting to me, or you're telling me your stuff, right? And so like I secretly knew that he was feeling a certain way, or you were feeling a certain way, or Nino or Q, whoever it may have been, but it made everybody so much better. And so when we did the shows, man, Rick never wanted to do a show to begin with. Like he was comfortable with just making the music, putting it out. And
I never liked that.
You know, he didn't want the attention, right? Yeah. Like he didn't want that type of attention. He was comfortable with just putting out his
but
work.
Having all you motherfuckers on the stage made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
You know?
And it was great, right? Like my goal was always just to try to get us somewhere, right? Like I'm trying to follow something, you know.
Freddie would try to get us in anywhere, though.
Yeah.
I remember one time he was trying to get us a fucking show was it Prospect? Remember we had Cushion? That's when we met Stinky Feet at the corner. because the show didn't turn out. I don't know how we ended up getting the chance to perform at this place, but it was like in the hood, bro, like hood. And we showed up, and even Christian was like, Fred, are you sure this is where we're performing? I'm like, how the fuck did you get this connect, bro?
Hey,
we were the only Mexicans there, bro.
I'm resourceful.
We walked out, and everyone was like, what are y'all doing? And then Freddie walks up confidently to the front and he's like, hey, we're supposed to perform tonight.
Yeah. I'm like, hey.
And the guy's like, here? You're supposed to perform here?
Oh, shit.
Hey, I was resourceful, right? Like, I'm trying to make shit pop off for us, right? Like, I'm trying to make things go. And I didn't care what hood we went to. I didn't care where we had to go. I knew that as long as we showed up, we were going to win over the crowd. It didn't matter who it was. And we always did, right? Like, it went from just me, it was Freddie and Ricky, to then Wapo and Sick Rick, you know, and Rick went to a few different names. He was Candyman.
Still going.
You know, the dude still, he's like P. Diddy. Pause.
Fuck that, man.
You know, without all
That's a bad reference.
without all the
give me all this praise. And he's like P. Diddy.
But
Fuck.
yeah, I know I fucked that one up. But I mean, it was that, right? Like we were trying to find ourselves. We were trying to, and I was just trying to bring out the best.
Pee Wee Herman.
I was just trying to find the best in myself, and surrounding myself around you guys. It motivated me, right? Like, I'm naturally ambitious. I'm naturally motivated to go and to do. But, you know, the one thing that drove me every single time and every single day, even though I had a full-time job, I went to school full-time, and I was doing this music shit full-time. I was out and fucking, you know, fucking full-time. I was, you know, everything full-time, right? Like, there wasn't a place that I wasn't in. I was sleeping 2-3 hours maybe a day for 2-3 years, you know what I mean? And I did it all for the love of just trying to make something of nothing, right? Like, you know, we come from nothing. My parents came to this country with nothing, right? Like with the clothes on their back and you know, no money, right? Like they got spotted money to come to this country. And for the first 6 months of their existence in the United States, they slept in a fucking tent, in an orchard, in the middle of an orchard in the winter in the state of Washington. And if anybody is familiar with Washington, it's full of orchards, full of farmland, right? You get the majority of apples that come to Kansas City actually come from Wenatchee, Washington, from a company called Stem Milk. And you know, and I just was lucky enough to be from that area and then come over here. And I went to Walmart one day and I see that on the back of the apple bag, it said Stem Milk. Produced and manufactured or packaged in Wenatchee, Washington. So it was surreal for me. But these people were just hungry. They were hungry for change. They were hungry for a difference. They were hungry for better. And they came from nothing, right? Like they were sleeping in a fucking mud house, you know, back in Mexico. And so I attest and I contribute and you know, all mighty God, man, and the man up above, that I got the best parents that anyone could ever ask for. They were hard on me. My father was very hard. My mother was very stern and disciplined. And it was really thanks to them that it, I guess, maybe genetically or naturally drove me to want to always be better, you know. And I'm the third oldest child that they have. And so I kind of felt a responsibility to live up to a certain standard, because they already went through two different kids older than me, right? My oldest brother is 8 years older. My oldest sister is 6 years older than I am. And they were fucking up, right? And they realized, like, man, we gave them too much leisure, too much leash, and we can't do it with this kid. And then shortly after, they have, you know, twin babies, fraternal twins, my brother and sister. They were born 11 months after me, right? So we're all born in the same year, and we're 11 months apart. So now my mom and my dad have twin kids to take care of. Guess who's getting the least amount of love? Me. Because they're dealing with the drama up top, and they're dealing with the two newborn kids. Now they got 3 portabebés, you know what I mean? Having to run everywhere with these 3 kids and dealing with the drama of the older ones. And not to say that you know, my parents were bad, but they needed to put their attention where it was necessary, where it was needed, right?
But you know, I hear the passion in your voice when you talk about this story, man, and can certainly appreciate that. But you know, I bet that everything that you just described right now is what shaped you into who you are and the reason why you're so driven. I mean, because I don't see that kind of drive in a whole lot of people, man. I don't think you know fucking depression or anxiety or any of this shit. Like you just go, man. You just go.
I don't. I don't. You know, and it's funny you say that. I always say that it's not that I don't believe that anxiety is real. I don't believe that depression is real. I just never allowed myself to have those blockers in my head, right? Or that vocabulary, those words in my head, right? In my household, you know, depressed didn't exist, bored didn't exist. You know, when you felt bored or you felt, hey, I don't want to do nothing, my dad gave you something to do, you know? And if you didn't want to do it, he's taking out the fucking belt, right? He's coming after your ass. And my dad was hard, man. My dad was the father that I needed him to be in order for me to deal with the problems that I was going to face later in my life. You know what I mean? Not only the situation that me and Rick went, which I think brought us closer, right? It's just so many situations that I've shared personally with all of you guys. And that either you guys have been there for me or I've been there for you. It's just shaped everything. And it's really attributed all to my parents, right? Like I've never known these people to call into work. You know what I mean? I've never known these people to call in sick or say that they can't do something. Yeah. Anytime something popped up, they were like.
But you, in a way, ever since I've known you, you've always like had this like persona that you were like the one that was gonna take care of the family.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I still feel that way.
No, you do, and I see that on your posts daily.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you've always been that person. And I think you like changed that mentality in me, because before I would do things just because I knew that I could, but I never really had a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Until you started implementing that, like taking care of the family.
Yeah.
And then that gave it a bigger purpose, because it made me go from like doing it for a big reason, but not necessarily any reason at all.
Yeah.
To having a real big reason to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like I was doing it, you know, intentionally. I was doing it with purpose, but I really wasn't like thinking that complex, right? Like, hey, if I do this, then he's going to do this. Nah. My entire mindset was driven by the fact that if I succeeded or I could get someone else, you know, success, then I would succeed with them, right? Like, because I'm contributing to the success, right?
Yeah.
And as I would see these roadblocks or these challenges, I was just trying to figure it out, right? Like, I've always been faced with you know, how you say it, with challenges my entire life. Adversity my entire life. You know, man, I'm not even supposed to be here. When I was born, I was supposed to be dead, you know. I'm a child of a miracle, you know. I was born and I had health issues. The doctor told my parents that I was supposed to be gone within 3 months, and they had me on life support. And you know, my mother is very religious, and I thank her every day for the person that she is and the person that her mother and her struggle made her. Because if it wasn't for her and my dad making this manda, right? This manda means like a promise, an offering that you give to this saint that you believe, right? In this case, it was La Virgen de Talpa, right? And she
pusieron tu vida en las manos de la Virgen de Talpa.
Exactly, you know, and she offered my life to the Virgen de Talpa and said, hey, if you save my son, I promise that I will come here and kneel in your altar and walk to you, but I will let his hair grow out, and when it gets to a certain length, I'm going to cut it, and on my knees on the rocks, because this entrance was just fucking rocks to be able to get into this church, to this temple, right? And she did it. You know, I 3 months later, I was supposed to get unplugged and get let go. And the doctors ran some more tests, and they came back to my mother and they said, we don't know what happened, but he's good. There's like all the problems that he had are gone. Like, we don't understand. And it's not like, I already had long hair and she already had done the things that she said and she promised, right? Like, she promised these things in advance in hopes that she would get my life today, right? And because of that, I feel, a responsibility to always be there for my mother and always be there for my father. Like, I feel a calling to have to respond when they need me, right? Like, it makes me a little emotional, but it's it's something that has stuck with me, right? When I learned about this story, I was a teenager, like I was a young teenager when I learned about this story, and my whole life I felt like, almost like an imposter, like I felt like I was living in a life of someone else, and I couldn't find my identity. I couldn't find who I was. And, growing up, I was, people would make fun of me because I never got haircuts and I wore Payless shoes and we wore fucking secondhand clothes, and while my parents were building a life for us, and giving us what we needed. And then later on, fast forward, now I'm like making fun of kids because now our life is getting better, right? Now we're starting to get nice things because my parents are entrepreneurs and they got these stores and they're making money. And my mom, they have like 5 different businesses, and we're just, man, I'm showing up to school with gold necklaces, bracelets, and rings, right? Like, I'm showing up like $1 million, right? And that does something to you as a kid, especially when you're the kid that was being made fun of, right? But what it did is allowed to discover myself in a different way. And then when I arrived here to Kansas City, right? Like, I had so many friends that I still have to this day in back home. But when I arrived to Kansas City is where it allowed me to really hone in on who I was. And doing this music thing and finding, these relationships with you guys, it allowed me to reinvent myself. And when I went back to back home, man, it's like Mike Jones says, back then hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot, hoes all on me, right? I felt like the shit. Like, people that never even gave a fuck about me were looking at me, right? Like, they were paying attention, right? And it's, when you're a kid that you're an introvert at the time, but then you have a dad who's a hustler and he's a salesman. The dude can sell ice to an Eskimo, like they say, right? Like, when you come from those type of parents, you automatically or almost forcefully are this a different person, and it allowed me to hone in on those skills. And then when I came to Kansas City, it just changed everything up for me, because now I got a taste of all of these different things, but I still didn't feel like I had an identity, right? And then I came here, and then I started to find who I was, right? Like, I started to find my drive. I started to find my ambition. I started to find my motivation. And I realized that there was no such thing as being sad. There was no such thing as being depressed or sitting there and dwell on my shortcomings. I was like, you know what? I was born poor. I have a little bit, and I'm going to do the best that I can with it, right? And I formed this group, right? The Flyboy Clique. Right? Like, it came from 2 guys that were just trying to do something. And really, I expanded it because I had a bigger vision that if one of these guys that I felt like was good and had talent, because all of you guys have talent, we could do something, right? And we did. We made noise in Kansas City. People knew who we were, right? Like, we got to the point where we were getting noticed by people as the Flyboy Clique, right? And it may not feel like a lot because it seems like a long time ago, but we still can release music and it be shit just like what the industry is playing.
Yeah.
We're just undiscovered. I don't like to consider ourselves.
Shout out Magic Man.
Yeah. I don't like to consider ourselves underground.
You remember Magic Man?
Yeah. I don't like to consider ourselves underground because we were never underground. Like we were above ground, and we were always trying to be, industry. We were always trying to be the best that we could at every angle. And I was thinking about all those aspects. I was thinking about the business. I was thinking about how we looked, right? Going back to the comment that Rick made, at that stage, right? When I popped out of the fucking stage, like I did that shit because I knew that people were watching. Plus, I wanted to look like a cool motherfucker, because I was,
They thought it was a 3-man group, and then Freddie comes out the woodworks.
Like, oh man, and then I dropped my verse, and that shit was hard. Rick's verse was hard.
Let's go back to the Beaumont.
Okay, go.
Remember the Beaumont, bro? It's the four of us. It's Freddie, it's me.
Do you remember what track we was performing?
It's Dennis, and it's Christian, man. And back then, it was a track list, and we had to turn it in. This is before USB drives, kind of. This is right when USB drives were coming in.
Yeah.
Do you remember the track list?
I don't remember the track list, but I do remember that I had to put it all together because the DJ didn't do shit. Mm-hmm. They just wanted to list. They just wanted to hit play.
They weren't DJs.
They just wanted to hit play, and then they wanted us to go on. So that's what I did. I put like 4 or 5 songs back to back, and I mixed them in a way where it would have transitions or whatever. But this motherfucker was playing the CD off a CD player. Like he wasn't even playing it off his turntables or nothing. He was just like playing it off a CD player. The CD player runs out of battery mid performance. I mean, the music just cuts off.
Right in the middle of my verse,
right in the middle of Dennis's verse, and Dennis has still got the momentum. Like he's still rapping his verse, but he's looking at everybody.
I'm a cappella. I'm going a cappella.
Yeah, Dennis is he's looking at everybody like, what is happening? And I immediately catch it, bro. I'm like, out of all of us, Dennis had the least
experience on the stage.
Not only on the stage, but like as far as cadence, because he came from poetry, so we had to show him a lot, like how to stay on beat. So the beat ends and it's on Dennis's verse, and Dennis is finishing his last line, and I'm like, he's gonna lose it. He's not gonna know how to keep it floating.
Yeah.
So I start beatboxing. I start fucking beatboxing, and then Nino catches on.
Yeah.
Christian catches on.
And he ripped it.
And he knows. Christian is the most experienced when it comes to naturally producing rap.
Yeah.
Christian had the most. Yeah, he had the most
off the
dome. He was the most experienced, and I remember when I started beatboxing. I remember me and him just locked eyes.
Yeah.
We were just like, and he knew exactly what to do. And just started fucking going, bro.
Yeah.
And I remember
I
remember I was feeding off of him because I know some of his verses, I don't know some of them, and sometimes it was freestyle, but I just start feeding off how his energy and how he's going, and I'm like, we gotta pump this fucking shit all the way up. And then boom, we get to that point. And then the DJ brings the music back in. Yeah. Bro, when we got off stage that day, everyone thought that was part of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's what changed the trajectory.
That was the best part of the show.
That's what changed the trajectory for us, right? Like that's what made us and people take us serious.
Yeah.
Because literally
that was our biggest show too.
That show changed everything for us. Like there was people's
grandmas was there watching.
Yeah, but
because we sold tickets to them.
But there was the crazy part is there was people from different walks of life, right? Like, there was Latinos, there was black, there was white, right? There was hood, there was not hood, right? Like it was all walks of life. And then all of a sudden,
I remember before going up,
we got an audience.
Do you remember that before we went up, there was like some people trying to start some shit.
Yeah.
And remember Christian was like, hey bro, them fools are over there fucking looking. And we're like, man, fuck that shit, bro. We got to do this show. Those same motherfuckers, bro, after we got off the stage, those same motherfuckers came up to us and were like, hey, bro, you guys are taking the whole crowd.
Yeah.
Because everyone was leaving when we were leaving.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they were like,
because everybody thought that was at the end. Right,
Nah,
like because there were several artists that went up.
We weren't the end. Yeah, there was a lot more.
Yeah, there was a lot more.
We went on.
Up.
We went on like around 5, but that show was supposed to go on to like 8 or 9.
Yeah, but there was people before us, and when we came, there were still people after us.
Yeah,
but after we got done, it was over. It shut down. Everybody's like, "Hey, that's it. There's nothing that can top this," and those fools are pissed.
But that goes to show that the crowd that people can draw has a big factor on the impact of the artist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because at that time, like all the people that went to go see us, they were close friends of ours. They were close friends of our families, and they knew that we were doing something, and they were they were there to show us that love and support.
Yeah.
But that whole support that they showed us just showed everyone else like, damn, you guys can really draw some people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I remember when Christian said, everyone say, hell yeah. And then we heard it.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, this is our crowd, bro.
Yeah, it was lit, man. We had so many new fans out of that. I mean, I had people from college that showed up, you know what I mean? And they, I remember one time we did it was like, I forgot what show it was. I think it was in Westport. And we played, me and Rick did, this was before actually we were performing with you guys, but we did a show and we were performing Fashion Chick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is when we met Q.
And we were performing Fashion Chick, and I remember having
it was a fashion show.
Yeah,
we made that song for that specific show.
Exactly, and I remember, like we went up to that in that show, and they're like, "Hey, you can't have cuss words." And we're like, "Fuck!" So we're over there editing the fucking tracks on our laptop real quick, editing everything. We're listening to it. We're fucking editing and trying to get it and re-export and fucking take it out, burn it to the CD or the USB so we can give it to the DJ. And we had 15 minutes to do that shit, or else we couldn't perform. And when we did that, like it was just crazy, like the shit that we had to go through just to showcase our talent and just for the want of wanting to get our music out there, right? Like
not knowing a goddamn
not
thing.
knowing nothing. We didn't know shit. I didn't know shit. I'm learning as I go, you know what I mean? And like Rick would always be like, "Hey, well, you're the one fucking doing this shit. You tell me what the fuck we're gonna do." And I'm like,
yeah, it's just when it came to like pushing the music out, doing the shows, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't even know if I wanted to do that shit.
No.
I just wanted to make music.
Yeah. And so it was just kind of like automatic. It was automatic that that I kind of just led the way and kind of fused everybody together.
You know what's crazy is that, over the years and how, lives change, how we evolved into, who we are now. And I mean, you should have seen Rick and the last performance that he did for this nonprofit that me and my mom were doing at the time. Well, my mom was doing. I was sort of helping with the campaign.
Hey, point the mic at you, bro.
That it was Dancing with the Stars, and he performed out there. And I was like, man, I was impressed with the stage presence that he had, man. I mean, it was like completely different.
I would have loved to be there, man.
Bro, I still got some footage. I got to show you, man.
I think I finally got over that.
That fear?
The fear of being rejected by a crowd. And I think I finally learned how to like control it.
Yeah.
How to overpower a crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I knew that day going back out, I was like, I can't be the same. Especially now that I'm doing it by myself, for myself. And it's like, it's no more group. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to elevate. I couldn't depend on you guys anymore, and I luckily I was doing Sábados. Shout out FK Minutes for allowing me to do Sábados. I did a season and a half. So I was hosting this show and it's a 4 or 5 hour show, bro, where I'm the host, man. Like I bring up the artists, I bring up the DJs. I'm on. I have to pay attention to the time.
Damn.
Make sure everyone's on time. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, like I have to hype the whole show up for 4 or 5 hours, and like carrying that show to doing a 30, 15 minute set it makes it so much easier. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because I know my songs. I don't have to regenerate anything. I don't have to come up with anything. I just have to sing my songs and do little 2-3 minutes, intermissions, versus having to do a 5-hour show where I don't know anybody. I don't know none of the vendors. I don't know none of the artists.
Yeah.
I just have to be the hype man and the host. That experience definitely, which is why I did it. Because when I told FK, I was like, I just want some more stage experience. And I definitely got what I wanted out of it,
Though I must say that I've seen the transition over the years because I've had the opportunity and really the privilege to kind of see that trajectory. But like you used to be a very like complex artist in the sense that, I mean, your lyrics were always so complex.
I tried because I was going against you and Christian, man.
But then, like hearing your most recent stuff, at some point it transitioned to something completely different. Where I started hearing some singing.
Yeah.
I started hearing some more melody.
Yeah.
I started hearing just different art, man. And I was impressed because I didn't even know you could do this. Like I was like, oh man, that shit sounds good.
I've always had a passion for melodies, and I've always had a passion for. I mean, as long as you guys know me, you guys know I always made love songs. You know what I'm saying? Or I've always been like an emotional,
a hopeless romantic,
like Freddie
Fucking
says.
Nino number 2.
But like
Hopeless
But-
fucking
but-
no,
but
actually
what-
Dennis number 2.
what really happened?
and Nino too.
Yeah.
Fucking romantics.
What really happened though was I found myself in I didn't find myself in a feel good position when I came to make music. And that's what started changing what music I started making and how I made it. Because I started paying attention to how I felt when I sat down to make it. And there was some times that I wanted to make it and I was feeling good that I couldn't make feel good songs because I was so used to making emotional or depressing songs. And
You were on that SPM vibe.
but it was just because I was the only I used music as an outlet for so long that was the only way I knew how to make music.
Yeah.
And eventually I got old enough to was like if I want to be a positive person, I have to change. And if I'm gonna make music, I have to change the way I make it. And that's this new wave of music that I got during, that COVID era and the unemployment era.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was unemployed making these new songs that the last ones I made, I was like, I'm not making music of my situation. I'm making music of what I want my situation to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I need some money, bitch.
Yeah.
So the songs are more upbeat.
Not necessarily
necessarily,
that, but
though.
the style was more easy. It was more me. It was more. I made it more.
There was more flow.
Yeah, I made it to I fit the pocket better.
Yeah.
Because I feel like back then I was trying to fit too much in the pocket.
Nah,
You know
fool.
what I
You're
mean?
telling me she got a bubble. I hit the double. She gonna get my ass in trouble.
Dennis was bringing "Ansi Nasi Nasi." Like, what the fuck is that, bro? That's 4 words rhyming back to back. Like,
Yeah.
I had to.
She's a fashion chick, lovely in every way.
Nah, bro. No, I felt like I was lyrical when we were Flyboy Click first, when it was just me and you.
Yeah.
But definitely when Christian and Dennis stepped in, it put a whole another level of friendly competition for me.
Yeah.
Because that's when I made Tentaciones, bro. Like that was to this day, that's one of the hardest Spanish fucking verses I have. And I would have never wrote those verses if I was not influenced by your style of
music,
your style of writing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you made me think 10 times more per every sentence. I was like, I'm going up against Dennis. Dennis is like, he's rhyming.
He's a fucking Spanish dictionary, bro. Literally.
Yeah, bro. You wouldn't. I always knew that level of rhyme existed. I just never felt like I needed to because no one around me was ever pushing me that hard.
Yeah.
Until you came and you were putting, you were rhyming 4 or 5 times in one fucking line.
I think I actually wrote an entire song with the same rhyme. Like I like never changed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
Like
pattern.
the pattern, the ending pattern from beginning to end. It was like but it's the vocabulary I've always had. But I've always had the ability to write, but just when it was like translating that to a track, I had a hard time.
Yeah.
And that's when you guys had to come in and actually show me, because it was hard for me to stay on. I invented like, offbeat rapping, man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You did.
You had a beat, because I remember when you would rap your songs, like I would hear the beat, but because you wrote your songs without a beat, the beat would change.
Yeah.
Every other 4 or 5 lines, and it's like, wait, you're rapping to a whole nother beat now.
Yeah.
So when we would have to put your verses on the beat that we were putting them on,
We had to move them.
we would have to change words or have to change sentences, or sometimes we had to add. And I remember sitting in the studio for hours, just trying to get one line in.
It was wild. I was frustrating as fuck.
Dennis,
And no, it's just crazy because like, I don't know how you guys managed to merge like the technical side with the with the creative side, because that's that's two different sides of the brain, man. Like to be a creative, that's like more right-sided,
It's
I think it came about more because we didn't have all the resources. Like,
we wanted to do it so bad.
yeah, like we wanted to do it so bad that we were just exactly, like we had a fucking Walmart microphone, with some fucking ghetto phone.
Shout out SG, Steve Garcia.
Yeah.
Fucking Casey Legend, bro. He's the one that started us in our equipment.
Yeah, he's the one that
ventures.
got us our top-notch gear when we actually had money to go buy. I
Bro,
remember.
can you give me that hoodie?
I remember I got a Bank of America credit card, and I had a $500 credit limit, and we went and I bought a computer, an e-machine. And I bought the e-machine, and that was like our first real like top-notch production computer.
Hold on, bro. Put the camera back on me, bro.
And
look, I still got it, motherfuckers. I'm with Stupid. Steve Garcia. You know what's up. If you know I'm with Stupid, you know Steve Garcia, you know Dr. Dilsnick and Last Recruit, then you know what that is.
Yeah,
man. They're legends, man. They're legends. Like, there's so many good ones here in Kansas City. The Kansas City underground scene is the most underrated, underground scene ever, man. Because there's so much talent. I mean, you have Pistol Pete. There's so many of them.
I feel like it's spotty. We have our runs where we have some really talented guys.
The Abnorm. Yeah. Shout out to the Abnorm.
Shout out Abaniggy Norm. Style. I'm part of Style. By the way, yeah.
What is that?
It's Abnorm. I don't think you met Abnorm, because
I've heard of him. Like,
I think you moved, because when I started kicking in with George, it's kind of when you were on your way back to Washington.
Yeah.
And I met Abnorm through George.
Yeah, like I kept in touch with everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I was seeing what you guys were doing. I was keeping my ear to the street, right? Like, I needed to know what you guys were up to, because, man, it's like. Not to say that you guys were my sons, but you guys were my sons, right? like you guys were.
I was rapping before you.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
I showed you how to write.
But what I'm saying is,
I showed you how to rhyme.
What I'm saying, like I was
he was like you. He knew how to write, but he didn't know the patterns.
Yeah.
He didn't know how many lines.
Right. He's right.
He didn't know how many lines. He didn't know how many lines were.
I didn't know the structure. I didn't know the structure, and he taught me structure. But what I'm saying is, like, you guys were my talent, right? Like, and I was like the record executive, right? And
it was P. Diddy.
Nah, fuck that. Damn, that shit came back. That shit came back full circle. That shit came back full circle. Oh my God. You see? I set myself up, this motherfucker. But that's what it was, right? Like,
look, that's why the
all up in the videos.
Yeah.
All up in the, fucking Suge Knight. And but you know, I mean, unlike fucking
coming
P.
out
Diddy,
the woodworks out of some fucking hidden staircase.
you know, I was just always just trying to
house parties full of baby oil.
Oh nah, we had house parties lit.
But one time we went to SG, back to SG. We went to Guitar Center and fucking got like $1,000 PA system, fucking big ass speakers. And did we get turntables too?
And we got a mixer. A mixer.
We got a mixer.
We bought a mixer.
So we can have
6 microphones.
Bro, we had the fucking
PA system.
Loudest system for house parties in the fucking.
Yep.
In Raymore.
In Raymore, Missouri, dog. And then, you know, I had a 3-story crib with a lower fucking living room floor, and that's where we had the sound system.
Nah, you had 1, 2. It was a 4-story.
Well, yeah,
technically it was 4 stories. It was like a lower basement, mid basement, kitchen, living room, bedroom, and then bedroom way up top.
Yeah. It was called the Rapunzel Suite.
The Rapunzel Suite. No one could get there.
No one could get down. So we put the Rapunzel up in the top, make sure that these motherfuckers weren't getting in the house, you know? And
she's a cock blocker too.
Yeah, and we you know, the house parties were lit, right? Like every weekend we were doing a house party, you know? And so by 2008, my parents already had left, right? So now I got the crib to myself. It's me and my sister. Technically, my brother was around, but he moved out quickly. He got into a relationship. And it was just me and my sister. So my sister was always working. I'm always working or in school or in the studio or whatever. And I'm always out and about. She's always out and about. So guess what I'm doing? I'm throwing parties every fucking weekend, right? Like fucking Rick would always be like, hey, wait, what are we doing this weekend? Yeah. You know? Like
I couldn't drive. I was illegal at the time. Like, where are you taking me today?
Yeah, I was this motherfucking chauffeur, dog. Like, and then you get Nino calling me like, hey, wait, I just got off work. Can you swoop me up? Like,
yeah.
Man, for where you at? Oh, I'm out here in Liberty. How the fuck you get in Liberty? And you live with your brother, you know?
But we always heard Freddie Cummings' little Honda Civic.
You know it.
With the 10 in the back.
You know it. I got it done. I got it done with what I had. I got it done.
Those house parties were lit though, man.
Bro, we had so many fucking beezies up in that mother. You guys don't understand, man. I was a dog.
Bro, I remember his sister was a bartender.
Yeah.
And that fucking night, bro, I don't know how, but we ended up fucking waking up in the backyard. Remember when we host off Ethan?
Yep. Shout out Ethan, man. I hope that he fucking
shout out Ethan, man.
Meets up with me this week because
we ended up hosing down our homie Ethan because I think he puked on himself. And we didn't want to touch him, so we fucking threw him outside and started fucking hosing him down.
And that motherfucker got pneumonia or
I don't know what he got, but we ended up.
What do you call that when you like almost freeze to death?
Pneumonia.
No, not pneumonia. Hypothermia. That motherfucker got hypothermia,
bro.
Wait, you guys did this in the winter?
In the winter.
It was like around this time. It was like October.
No, it was winter already. It was already snow.
He was wearing shorts.
And we hosed him down
around this time.
You guys was like fucking
fall.
Savages, man.
Ethan always wore the fucking.
And we went to a Mexican restaurant. He always wore the tennis outfits. It didn't matter where we would go. That fool was ready to golf.
He would always have the khakis and the polo.
The polos. He was ready to golf everywhere we went.
Where are we spending money today, boys?
He was up in the club with a fucking business casual. You know what I mean? Like, and we're all over here fucking like choloed out, you know, all gangster KC, you know, like.
That was a thing back then.
And this fool was like with this nice belt and his going out shoes, you know.
His fucking Hey Dudes.
Back before Hey Dudes, you know, he had them.
Yeah.
He had them.
He was the one that made him popular.
Man, shout out my guy Ethan, man. I love that motherfucker, man. Like, you know, he's a great friend. He's a great person. And when I left, he took care of our house, you know what I mean? And and Ricky's parents too, you know what I mean? Ricky's parents helped us out sometimes too to go and clean it up before we had other tenants move in. So, you know, I mean, it was good, man. When we started expanding in the music and we actually now had a group and now we're doing all these shows, and it's every weekend seems like, and we all got jobs. You got, you know, a life, you got a baby, you got a wife. You know, this dude's well, he was single, I was single, but you know, I had all my little tings, you know, and it's a full-time job handling all this shit, you know, but
Man.
I never thought about none of it like that, right? Like I just thought of it as like, all right, cool. Right now I got to go do this. Right now I got to go do this. Right now I got to go do this. Which, by the way, today my wife hates. My wife hates that I'm that guy that is always doing something. You know,
always on the go.
Like I'm always on the go. I always got something to do.
That's every relationship though, because I mean I'm like I got work, I got the podcast. You know what I'm saying? And like my girlfriend sometimes is like, when are you gonna give me time?
Yeah, but you know, it's I always like I split my time evenly, right, where it's necessary. You know, of course, if I have work, I have work, right? Like if I gotta go to a meeting or I gotta go do something else, I go do it. But it's uninterrupted. So when I'm spending time with my wife, it's uninterrupted. Ain't nobody bugging me. I'm not answering nobody's calls. I'm not worried about nothing else. It's 100% her, right? If it's with my kids, it's the same thing. It's 100% them. Like I'm not
compartmentalized.
Yeah, like I'm not, you know, cutting them in half because someone else hit me up and now I gotta, unless it's an emergency, I'm not taking away time, right? And I need to do all of these things to stay sane. Like this is the shit that keeps me sane, right? Like me staying busy is what handles my whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Whatever negative word you want to call in people's lives for their procrastination or their inefficiency or their lack of success or their lack of money or their lack of whatever. I mean, like when I was in Kansas City, the most money I had ever made was $38,000.
Damn.
38,000.
It's a damn.
That's
Kevin Hart. Damn.
Yeah, like that shit. Like the poverty level at the time was like 18,000, right? Like I was just a little bit over that. You know what I mean?
You were young as hell too.
Yeah, I was young as hell, but I was doing a lot of shit, man.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
but still, like
I'm like that. I should have more, right?
You gotta understand, like you're in a position of hiring and firing people now. Imagine a kid at your age, like you're not gonna offer him that much because you know you're still questioning his responsibility.
Yeah, right,
you know
right. You question his dependability, whether he can actually perform or not. But that's the thing is that like when it came to work, I was a workaholic. I didn't miss days then. I definitely don't miss days now. You know what
neither.
I mean?
I don't miss days. I didn't miss days then too because I feel you 100% on what you're saying, but I've also been in a higher fire position where I'm getting people and. Like when I got in that position is when I finally understood. I'm like, that's why I didn't get paid that much back then.
Yeah,
because I had a baby face and they think I didn't have the experience or I didn't have the responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? How big is your team that you have to manage
right now? Well, so I can't say the company obviously because of copyright and things like that. I can't actually publicly put it out in public. But I represent one of the largest Fortune 500 companies in the world. They're a big, manufacturer, and I manage their network operations. So I manage 16 network engineers of highly skilled engineers from the bottom all the way to the top. And we're talking about we not only implement, manage and maintain, network systems and traffic for this large company. We ensure that fucking satellites in space are working and the missile launchers,
multi-billion-dollar
$100 billion company, $500 billion to be exact.
How about the projects themselves?
Projects, right now one of the projects that I'm working on is a $4 billion project, and it's been the largest project to date that I've oversaw. And of course, I have a lot of help, right? Like, I'm what you call data center network operations manager. So I oversee the operations for 7 data centers across the entire world. And, for people that don't understand is I manage the network side of the house, right? So the way that the internet works is because you got a lot of, computers connected together that are passing information back and forth. And we basically manage the inside or the medium that connects computers to communicate with each other, right? And so I graduated as a network administrator from college, and I just moved up. I just try to do as much as I could to grow as an engineer. And so my trade is as a network engineer, right? Like that's what I do. And so I did that for many years. I was the grunt. I was the guy that was running the cables, installing the devices, removing the devices, troubleshooting devices, things like that. But I've always liked, as what I did with you guys, right, is running a team, managing a team.
Yeah.
And so I always was looking for the leadership roles. But, I did construction. When I was a kid, I had a paper route. I did landscaping, right? Like,
so you always had this entrepreneurial spirit.
But I went to.
Nah, he's always had a business mind. Since I've known him, because I feel like that. I mean, he's really what added that to the group. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise, we wouldn't have been doing shows. We wouldn't have been doing nothing. And everything we did, he tried to monetize somehow.
Yeah. It was because of my parents, right? Like I always go back to that. It's thanks to my parents that they, probably, unknowingly put this bug inside of me, right? And like now all of my siblings, are doing very well, and they all have that natural bug now, right? Like my sister has a general contracting business. She also has a CPR business, which does very well for them. My brother is part of a nonprofit organization, one of the largest in the state of Washington, and helps businesses be able to, they call it digital equity, basically use technology to enhance their business and be able to either translate, services if you're a, Spanish speaking or more catered to Latinos or Hispanics, and switching it to English. And he helps with that, right? He's like a digital equity program manager. My brother, he's a diesel mechanic, works for a very large food processing company, but he runs his bully bash show, right? So he became a breeder, and because of him, I got into the breeding. My wife loves dogs, specifically dogs, and she wanted to get into breeding. And so through my brother's want to do a show and my experience of doing shows with us, right? My brother came to me, and he's my little brother, and he said, "Hey, bro, help me develop a show around my business." And I was like, "Well, what are you trying to do?" And he's like, "I want to do a show to bring people to compete their dogs and have fun and have entertainment and food and all of this stuff." And so I was like, all right, fuck it, let's do it, right? Like, and he had no money, and so we the very first show, he actually partnered up with a guy. He's a good friend today. Shout out my homie Freddie Olivares, which is my brother's compadre, and one of the realest dudes you guys ever meet. I hope you guys get the chance to meet him. He's a fucking real motherfucker. Ran the streets at one point in time, and dudes, just settled down and doing his thing now. But he's in the breeding game, and he's been in it for probably the last 20 years. And so he just shared so much knowledge. So the very first show that we did was free. And he went half and half with my brother, and I emceed the show. And, it was a last minute thing. I just kind of helped bring people and drive attention and market. Really, they organized it, the very first show, and I emceed it and DJ'd it, and it was fun. It was a great turnout. We went in a public park, and we had probably like 100 people there, right? Like it wasn't a lot. But now the following year, my brother's like, okay, I want to do my own show, right? Like I don't want nobody else involved. I want it to be me and off my brand.
Bully Bash.
The Bully Bash, and that's what started the Bully Bash. It was now it was Bully Bash 2. Technically, Bully Bash 1 was the free show, and his kennel is Kilo Kennels. You could go to kilokennels.com. That's kennels with the double Z at the end, and so then we got to the drawing board, right? We got to the drawing board, and I'm trying to figure out, hey, what do I do for entertainment? What do I do for for food? Do we have a big venue? Do we have a small venue? Do we make it outside? Like, just a lot of different things. And my brother always has, like, he's always shooting for the stars, right? Like, and I'm always shooting for the stars too, but you got to be realistic, right? Like, you got to work with what you got, and you got to realize that you're probably not going to have the turnout that you wish that you could have, right? So we did it. We went out, and I forgot where Bully Bash 2 was at. Now we're at Bully Bash 5, but it was a great turnout, and we had so many people from
What does the turnout look like?
So right now the turnout in our last show, we had about 400 heads. You know, yeah. So we went from 100 people to slowly gaining like 50 to 100 people a year, right? And then we finally get to Bully Bash 4. And we got about 400 people in the building. And it was really, the strategy that I took was, if I put music, the thing that I love, right? Besides me, having a successful IT career, I just, music was what I love, right? I always go back to that. And so I just put that, I connected that into the show. And I said, I'm going to scout talent, just like I did with you guys. And I went and started finding artists that had a little bit of buzz, or someone was, posting them on Facebook or sharing it on Instagram. And I would reach out to all of these artists and I said, hey, I got this show going on. I would like for you to perform. And then I would have them sell tickets like we used to have to here. Right? Like, I literally got the idea from Kansas City, and I would give them fucking 10 tickets. They would sell them. They would come back, give me the money, and I would give them a minimum, right? And that's how we would get their fans to come and see them at our show. Little did they know that they were not just coming for a music, event. They were coming for a dog show and a food and a business networking event, right? Like, it's now turned in where we have more like different vendors, right? Like not last year, but the year before, we had a local like clothing vendor that they had their own brand. A guy who was like a shoe flipper, flipping fucking the top of the line Nikes or Jordans or the shit that you can't get. And we had food vendors. We had just different types of business. It literally could be anything, and we would allow them to come because we just wanted people to meet potential customers and be able to have an audience, right? And so it just morphed from being just a dog show to music to food vendors. So now we like promote it as a business networking event, right?
Makes sense.
And it just different walks of life, different people. And I was able to do that because of the music here, right? Because of what we did here. Yeah. Like, this set the blueprint for all of that, right?
Yeah. The experience, I guess, right? Just kind of came back.
It was just tried and true, right? Like, it was tried and true. But I beat myself up every day because like I think we could have done something significantly, like I hate my ex bitch, you know what I mean, for fucking convincing me to leave Kansas City. But I don't have no regrets. Like, I have no regrets because it led me to my two wonderful boys, my two older kids, who are my stepkids, but I've raised them since they were 5 and 9. And then I met my wife, right? Like, if I didn't make those mistakes or take those risks, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am, right? Like, the trajectory of not only my IT career, but my personal, life, it was thanks to those decisions. But I had to sacrifice other things, right? Like, because we can't have it all,
right.
And it's shitty. And I think about it every single day, but I wouldn't do it any different, Do I wish that I would have stayed here longer and I would have just took my internship with Cerner when I left, college. I got an offer to internship with Cerner, but man, they offered me $16 an hour in 2010.
At Cerner?
At Cerner as an intern, at Cerner. It was a paid internship, and I graduated top of my class, right? Like, so I got nice opportunities, but nice opportunities were basically like, hey, you're going to be my fucking slave. You know what I mean? Like, and I was a kid, and I'm what, 20, 21 years old, and I'm like, I don't know if this is what I want, right? Like, I don't know if I'm willing to sacrifice my time or whatever. And then I was like, fuck it, you know, like, I'm gonna do it. But then I graduated. I was doing well with T-Mobile. You know, I was a top sales associate for, you know, several months in our region, along with my sister and other people, right? Like, we were always competing for the top spot. And thanks to that job, being that it was commission, and I got paid like $9 an hour, you know, base pay. But thanks to the commission aspect of it is what allowed me to have the extra money to be able to pay for the shows and be able to pay for the gas and be able to pay for the McDonald's that me and this fool would eat in the middle of the night, or Taco Bell, or fucking IHOPs. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because you guys weren't getting paid for shows for them.
Nah, we didn't get paid for shit.
I was illegal, but I wasn't broke.
Yeah, he had a little bit of money, you know.
I was landscaping.
And he had fucking T-Rex. He had T-Rex hands. He couldn't reach his wallet. Right? They were like this. They're like he's trying to reach his wallet, but he couldn't get to it, you know. And I was like, fuck, I guess it's me again, you know. But it is what it is, right? Like I said, I don't regret any of it. You know, it is what it is, man.
It all happened as it should.
Yeah, it was great. It was the fucking greatest experience I ever had. And what people don't know, that it was in a 5-year time span. Like, all of those things transpired in 5 years. From 2005 to 2010 is my time here in Kansas City. And, you know, I met so many different people. Obviously, I have, you know, still relationship with you guys. We did so many fucking things, got into so much shit, got out of so much shit, you know, missed, you know, so much shit, never got caught for so much shit, right? Sure. Like, it was just go, and I loved every fucking minute, bro. It was like,
it was a fast-paced life for sure, man.
Yeah, man. It was
good times.
I remember there's a clip on one of our songs called "Hell Yeah," where you came the last day when you were moving back. I think it was like it was a weekend. You were leaving no, I don't know.
Fucking T-Rex hands.
But you were there. But you were there and Christian was there. We were recording a song for Latin Connect because that's what we were turning into after Freddie was leaving.
Yeah.
And Freddie stopped by and I remember you saying a prayer for all of us and Flyboy Click, and I remember clipping that into that song.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's crazy. You know, it's just crazy how like that era ended of us. And it was crazy how we had to carry ourselves after. You know what I'm saying? And it just didn't work.
No. It definitely once Freddie left, there was a big void for sure. And that's what I was telling them too. I was like, man, you know, like, you're one of those people that, like, your presence is felt. I mean, like, your absence is also felt. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's
well, I think Freddie kept us motivated with an idea because I think when you were here, you were always like, "We're gonna make it. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that," and it all kept us. It gave us something for us to believe.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Which is what kept us together. You know what I'm saying? And when you left and that ended for us, it was like reality set in for us, and we're like, "Fuck."
Well, you kept on doing it though. You kept on doing your thing.
Well, that's because
Nino did his thing too for a while.
But that's because, like Christian and myself, we were doing it before Freddie was in the picture. We just weren't doing that extra shit that Freddie was, you know, providing and bringing to the table. So for me, it was like, I'm just, you know, going back to square one, and that was square one for me, is to keep making my songs. You know what I mean?
And you put out a lot of shit that you never released, man, and some good music, man. I was like, I think was it Time Machine was after that, right?
Time Machine was just a mixtape.
That was after that, though, right?
Yeah.
And then you had Chips and Salsa.
I was creating Chips and Salsa,
bro. There was what happened to that?
He never dropped it.
I never dropped. The era changed. I felt like Chips and Salsa was just like I felt like it was a EP of the Time Machine, and and then I started the selfie.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started the selfie, I was like, I can't drop chips and salsa. It's just, you know what I'm saying?
I think
it's because this fool gets in his head. That's his problem.
Too much.
He gets in his head. He overthinks situations, and the shit's a fucking masterpiece. And I'm like, just fucking release it. And he's like, no way, because I still need to fucking check the volumes, and this shit's like this and blah. And I'm like, fool, just drop this shit, bro. Like, nah, man.
There was so many good tracks in Chips and Salsa because you gave me some like sneak peeks on some of the songs, and I was like, man, those need to be heard. You know, I was like, those definitely need to be heard.
I heard about the project Chips and Salsa, but I don't think maybe I heard a few tracks or maybe you sent me a few.
It was supposed to be like a very Latin based project.
Yeah, so you did send me a few.
And the chips were like the chips off my shoulder, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Dennis was involved in that project. That's where Tentaciones was supposed to go.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, Tentaciones was supposed to be on there. What was that other song that we did where I was talking about the shooting that we were involved in at Power and Light?
Yeah.
We got shot at Power and Light, bro.
I heard about it.
We did. We sure did. Fuck.
You know what song I'm talking about?
Fuck, I can't think of it. I know.
Hasta aquí llegó.
No, that was another one.
I still get fucking shit about that song with this guy named Carlos. Always, every time he sees me, he says, "Hasta aquí llegó."
Hasta aquí llegó. Yeah, I remember. Well, was it on that track where you wrote some bars for me? Yeah, I think
I wrote
it was
that
that
verse
one.
for you.
I think,
You did,
I think, and you rapped it on one of my beats.
Yeah.
It
was one.
So
of
it
your
was one of
beats.
my beats. But Freddie recorded it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Is there another spider over there? Oh no. Fuck, man! Now I'm all fucking paranoid and shit.
Dog.
Fucking bro, if you guys could see this motherfucking wolf spider in the city in this living room smashed, you guys would be tripping right now.
My girl would go crazy right now, bro.
No, but yeah, hasta aquí llegó. Yeah, you wrote my verse for that, and it was hard. It was a hard verse. And like I said, right, like I never considered myself no lyricist. I write my shit, of course. I've written my shit. I've written some clever shit. I've created a lot of music. But what I've always prided myself in is being able to construct a nice, beautiful song and that can resonate and connect with people, right? And you guys always challenged me to try to write as best as possible, you know?
I feel like once we split up and you went back to Washington, I feel like the shit you was putting out was like very aggressive.
Yeah, fool.
And very competitive.
Because I had a void, you know?
Yeah.
I had to fill a void.
I was like, damn, this fool, what is he trying to do over there?
Because I had to reinvent myself, right?
Yeah.
Like now I left the Flyboy clique, right? Now you guys are turning into Latin Connect, not because you wanted to, because you had to.
Yeah.
Now you got to create your own identity. You know, now you guys look like fucking reggaeton rappers up in Kansas City. You know what I mean?
That's what they were trying to make us.
Yeah, well, of course. And
underwear models for whatever.
And underwear models. And so now I'm in Cali, right? Like now I have this break of music, and you know, I'm with T-Mobile still. I happen to go help open up a T-Mobile store in Glendale, California, and met some fucking amazing people out there. And you know, through T-Mobile, I met a guy that you know, got me into IT. He got me into getting contracts and be able to get experience, right? Because unfortunately, like you go to college, and this is what everybody talks about. Like, I'm gonna set the record straight with college. Like, everybody says you can make it without college, and you can. But I'm going to tell you right now that it's much more difficult to make it without college. And the only reason I say that it's much more difficult because college exposes you to so many different people, and the people has been the putting, you know, or the core to my success, because I kept in touch with everybody, and I reached out to everybody when I need. Hey, where are you working? What are you doing? Who are you? Right? Can you make it without college? Yeah, of course, anybody can, right? It's a different path, and it's an uncharted territory for a lot of people, right? You know, it's a proven fact that, you know, 70% of college graduates are the highest earners in the United States. You know what I mean? But that 30% are the people that never find a job in the role that they studied, right? Or in the field of study that they chose. And it's, to be honest, I always feel like it's because people don't look hard enough or they're not willing to try. They think that it's going to land on their lap. My education was $80,000. I went to DeVry for a year. That cost me 20, and then I went to ITT Tech for 2.5 years. That cost me 60, right? And I got to actually write off part of it, and then my mother actually made an agreement with me and said, "Hey, son, if you go to college, you'll be the first one in our family to go to college. I'll help pay half of your education." So I was like, "All right, cool, great fucking deal, right?" But my parents were always telling me, especially my dad was always like, "Hey, if you don't go to fucking school, you're going to be in the orchard picking cherries. If you don't go to school, you're going to be fucking with the pinche asadón taking out weeds. You know what I mean? If you don't go to school, you're going to be pruning trees, right? So I didn't want to do that. I was fearful that I was going to end up doing that shit. Not that it's a bad job. It's an honest job, right? But I knew that I had a higher calling. I wanted to do more, right? And I wanted to earn more, right? Like I wanted to earn more. And then, it came back to when I left, I needed to find my new identity because now I'm not Flyboy Click. Now I know that you guys are starting with Latin Connect. Then I find out that you guys broke up. Rick's doing his own thing. Nino's doing his own thing. You're back at grinding at your master's degree, trying to finish that up. And I'm stuck in California, and I was like, fuck, I need to do something, right? And then I get to Washington, and I'm like, I need to try this music shit again, right? Like I need to figure it out. So I was going through the motions of trying to find an identity, and I came, at VOZ, Voz, and it was because of a friend. I was in the room, and he was in the room, and I was making music, and then he's like, "Hey, do you what are you gonna go by?" And I was like, "Well, shit, over there I went by Wapo." You know what I mean? And I mean, it's just a name that they gave me, right? Like,
oh, you chose, fucker.
Hey, don't put that on us.
I wasn't gonna call you Wapo, motherfucker.
Like,
I actually felt uncomfortable calling you Wapo.
Hey, it came. Wapo chose me. I didn't choose Wapo. Okay, and so then
Christian used to call you Sapo.
And then he's like, "Hey, you know what? Like, you should be, Voz." And I was like, "Voz?" He's like, "Yeah, man. It's like you're always like the voice of people. You're always the guy like leading the way. I feel like you're that guy, Voz." And I was like, okay, shit, that kind of makes sense, right? Like, and so then I liked, saying VOZ because it stood as an acronym for me, volume over silence with the Z. And the Z was basically saying like, don't sleep on me, right? Like volume over silence, like silence meaning like, hey, you know what I mean? Like you're always gonna get the loudest thing from me, and you're not gonna sleep on me, right? And so boom, I found my identity, and then I'm living in this town called East Wenatchee, and now I'm going to the club every single weekend, trying to form my new identity. And so then I was out at the club every single weekend with my brother, and I was like, all right, cool, now I gotta be this guy. VOZ. And so I'm handing out CDs now, like, hey, here's my mixtape, here's my mixtape, here's my mixtape. And then I fast forward, I went I met my girl, and we had a garage in the back. I set up a little studio in the back, and that's where I created Limitless. I created Limitless over 7 days, but in weekends, And I remember smoking some Pineapple Express, because I only at the time I was thinking like, I need to smoke so I can write, so I could be in the zone. And I was so used to us, doing that over here. So it was like, fuck it. you know, and I wrote Limitless, and that was my first mixtape that I dropped. That's what got me the buzz. I created, you know, vozmusic.com, and I released the mixtape on the website first before I actually released it in any streaming platforms. And within the first 30 days, I was getting like 30,000 people hitting the website, you know? And it was just all from word of mouth. And it was like, you know, the great thing about the internet is that you could track the analytics and you can track where people are listening from. And so I'm looking at the Google Analytics, and it's like people are listening from, you know, Kansas City, from California, from Seattle, Spokane, Moses Lake, Wenatchee, just places that I've been basically, and people that I knew. And then boom, I drop it on streaming platforms, and it starts doing numbers.
Yeah.
You know, and it starts going up, and it's not like it got millions, but it was still in the tens of thousands for me to now develop an audience. And now I was established. Everybody in the street knew me as VOZ. Hey, what's up, VOZ? Hey, what's up, Voz? Hey, what's up? And I like I'll tell you how much people only knew me that way, that when I met my girl, she didn't actually know my real name for several months. She only knew me as Voz. Like, she didn't know what my real name was, you know what I mean? And you know, there was
baby, soy Voz.
It's just it was funny, it was cool, but that's who I was and that's who I am, right? Like, that's my identity, that's me, that's who I am. And so and none of it, like Rick, like going back to what Rick was saying like way earlier, right? Like, we were always just writing our experience. We were always just writing what we were going through, what we were experiencing, and we were trying to always be as real as possible. Like, with everything that we wrote, we were just trying to be as real as possible. I was always trying to be a clown as much as I could, right? I just wanted to have fun. And so, you know, I always add a little bit of, you know, things here and there. But
yeah, you always kept the energy light, man. That's the one thing you did effectively.
I had to stay on my toes, right? So I wouldn't settle. And then now I found my identity. Then Rick is releasing, by that time, I think at that time he had released the Selfie. When did you release that? That was 2014? Or 15?
2015, yep.
So I dropped Limitless in 2014, and I went on this like local tour, this local run of shows. I went and did shows with MGK. I did a show with YG. I did a show with Kurt Cobain's. I opened up for who was the fucking dude?
I remember that time because, you know, that was like the era where Freddie breaks away from the Flyboy clique. And everyone's watching what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm over here watching Freddie like, damn, this motherfucker's making moves.
Yeah.
It's like, we got to make some moves.
Yeah, you know.
Because it was that friendly competition, you know.
Because I felt like if I did it over there and I could make enough noise, that I think that it would get back to you. Like, that's what I was always thinking about.
Same. It was,
you know?
Same. It was always friendly competition.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was always like, I knew you, so I knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I knew that at the same time, it's like, it was competition, bro.
Yeah, of course, and you have to keep the competition going.
But I always knew that if we ever merged back together, all that shit would have just washed away, and we would have all just like worked together and made it happen somewhere somehow. You know what I'm saying? Same with this, like same with the podcast. You know, if we ever do anything with it, like the door for you is always here, because I know that you, regardless of what we're doing, you'll always find a position to play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you'll always do your best to add the best to whatever it is we're doing. Same with Dennis. You know what I'm saying? And even though like me and Dennis are working together now, it kind of feels like we're making music again, but we're doing podcasting.
Yeah, it's just different.
And it's different, but we're clashing. We're learning.
Well, just like me and this fool used to. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's part of the process, man.
It is part of the process. I feel like if you can't agree to disagree, you can't compromise, then you're just, you know, your tunnel vision and you're not thinking about all of the other aspects.
And you can't do everything by yourself, bro.
You can't. You need a team.
I always told people, I was like, I could have got there. I could get people, but it's just gonna take 10 times longer. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because I have to build relationships with some of these people, and Dennis already has pre-built relationships. Yeah. So why don't use his pre-built relationships to help grow this faster? You know what I'm saying? And
you got to share the wealth, right? There's enough for everybody, and that's what I always realized is that I never did this selfishly, right? Like I always did this selfishly. You wanna before we wrap up this podcast, you wanna spit some shit for old time's sake or what? I can spit a verse. But you know what I mean? Like I did it selfishly, right? Like I was doing it because it brought me joy.
Right.
Seeing you guys flourish. Like it brings me joy seeing my kids, flourish, or seeing my wife do good. Like she got into this breeding game and she's been hustling dogs. As we speak right now, she just went to go do a deal. I just got a text message I haven't answered. And by the way, even my boss is like, hey, you got time to talk? He probably wants to say like, you're fired, fucker. Yeah, so you know what I mean? Like I'm always happy for everybody else. Like it brings me so much self-fulfillment to see other people succeed. And because I through that, it allows me to channel my ambition, you know what I mean? And channel my motivation. And it drives me, right? Like the only content I consume is business oriented or motivational, right? Or just music, flat out. Like my girl hates it because every time in the car, I only play beats. Like I still only play beats.
I thought I was the only one that did that.
Nah. Really? You still do?
Yeah,
I still play beats in the car.
I still play beats.
I don't.
I
play cumbia, salsa, bachata.
Yeah, this fool be fucking up in the car. Man.
Yeah, no, man.
For a while, he was on Snap just fucking cumbias every fucking snap.
Este cumbiero.
He is. Yeah. But that's what's been great, right? Like it was just versatile. Like what we had was versatile. What we had was unorthodox, right? Like it wasn't the average artist. Like every artist gets developed, individually because they're all, unique or whatever. And then you got this big marketing fucking budget that pushes them out, right? But for us, it was so organic. It was so natural. And I felt like we got enough people to listen to us and it was good. Like we got the taste of fame. Like I feel like we got the taste of what fame felt like. And it's just we obviously went our separate ways and we had to grow up, I guess you could say, but it doesn't mean that we can't do it still, right? Like I feel like hip hop has aged.
Yeah,
I feel like it's aged to the point where now our generation of people, they want to see a seasoned rapper. They want to see someone who's been through some shit.
I'm completely off rap now.
Yeah, I know you are, fool, but you'll come back.
No, I'm talking about as listen. Like I don't even listen to it. I found myself listening to Joel Ortiz the other day and realizing that's like, damn, bro, like my era is done. Like it's over with. It's done. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm tired of fucking hearing the same story, bro.
Yeah, I guess. Like the people that I be listening to right now, like I'm a big fan of Drake. I like Drake a lot.
Not even, bro. For me, it's like
I like Kendrick Lamar.
For me, I'm tired.
By the way, Drake won the battle.
What? Hell no.
Get the fuck out of here.
No.
Don't even start.
Drake did not win that battle, bro.
Get out of here. It's because you guys are hip hop heads and you want to hear that boring shit.
Bro, that dude's in an awkward position in his fucking career right now.
Nah, he dropped some shit just
he's
recently.
Secondhand to P. Diddy right now.
No, he ain't no secondhand to P. Diddy. He was reaching. What?
He is? Yes, he is. Exactly.
What?
This is the youth talking here.
Damn.
Secondhand to P. Diddy right now, bro.
No.
He's got I don't know.
Like real.
I don't know if there's real
pedophile allegations.
But that's
besides just fucking they not like us. They not like us.
Nah, bro.
Nah. I don't think so. I think that Kendrick Lamar was reaching. I think that Kendrick Lamar used this moment to catapult himself into a bigger artist. Which
I think J. Cole did the right thing.
Yeah.
I think J. Cole's a bitch.
Nah, I think he did the right thing.
I love J. Cole, man, but I hate that society's become soft. I hate that all these motherfuckers want to be like, oh, J. Cole fucking stepped out because he's trying to keep his peace. Like, nah, motherfucker, you're a rapper. Go fucking rap your ass off. At the end of the day, you should be able to throw some bars and then be like, you know what? Okay, you got me, bro. You got me. It's all good in the hood. But I feel like Kendrick Lamar took it personal and he was taking jabs and he was trying to reach and he was trying to find information.
I think
who wouldn't be jealous?
I think musically, when it comes to like the beat and the attractiveness of the song, Drake had it. But I feel like when it came to like
the lyricism and the clever,
not the lyricism, but like the message, I think Kendrick kind of fucked him up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like Kendrick, like just writing a letter to his son. That's fucking disrespectful, but at the same time, it's like that's clever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's clever, bro. And
it is clever.
And you're in the fucking game of rap. Fuck the new school. Fuck the old school. You're going versus a person.
Yeah.
And you cannot forget where the roots come from. You can't forget that. Fuck this number shit. Like, when you're going on a versus, bro, like you got to think about that type of shit. And I just felt like, although like I said, musically, I think Drake's music is more attractive.
Yeah.
For me,
commercially,
I think Kendrick just came from a more of a organic place rather than just trying to make a hype song.
Yeah, he came from a broke place.
That's what Nicki Minaj was doing when she was battling. She was just trying to. She's like, you can say whatever the fuck you want against me. I got the top record.
Yeah.
And you didn't say shit, but you just got the
It's because Kendrick's funds were drying up and the motherfucker needed
he needed to go to Atlanta.
So he needed a way in and so he can get his numbers up. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that was a feud that's been boiling for a while.
From the sounds of it.
They've been picking at it. It was a matter of time. And then they started comparing all three of them. They started comparing Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole
as the main three.
And it's true. Like, you can't really put no one up in their era. You can't put no one up there with them.
We the big three, like we started a league.
Exactly. So it was
shout out Ice Cube.
It was just a matter of time before that.
And J. Cole.
Right. It was just a matter of time before that was going to happen.
Hey, Drake, Kendrick, if you guys need a feature, let us know, man. We got you. It's $150 a pop, okay?
Yeah, man.
That's straight out of KC.
And that's $150K, homie, with 3 zeros.
But listen up, man. We got to wrap this up, bro.
Yeah.
We try to keep our podcast under 2 hours.
Damn, for real?
Yeah, but it goes fast when you're having a good conversation, man.
Yeah,
And catching up with all homeboys, that's for sure.
Yes, sir. But listen, viewers, once again, man, please subscribe. Make sure you guys go follow the homie VOZ.
VOZ Music on Instagram, VOZ Music with the Z on Snapchat, VOZ Music on TikTok, VOZmusic.com. VOZ Music is the brand. VOZ Music is the life. VOZ Music is everything. And if you guys are interested in real estate, VOZ Capital, that's me. You guys need your taxes done, taxiogroup.com. That's one of my companies. And if you guys need some IT support, call fucking help desk because I don't do that shit no more.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Got the homie Dennis over here.
Again, man, appreciate hosting and it was good talking to you, Freddie. Welcome back to KC.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you come back again, son.
Hey, you know what? I've realized to end this, man, I just want to tell you guys, I'm sorry for leaving.
Fuck, man, I've been waiting to hear that for a fucking decade, mother.
Like, I'm sorry for leaving.
No.
Like I said, I don't regret it, so fuck you guys. But
it's the way you fucking laugh.
Yeah, I know.
Take your ass back to fucking Washington.
That's what I know. It was shitty, man. That's what pussy does to you guys. You know what I mean? Like,
man.
You fuck up because you're chasing the wrong fucking things, and it fucks up your momentum, fucks up your shit. I'm gonna just give you guys some words of wisdom, okay? In my long 35 years of life, chase your dreams first. And someone got to support your dreams. And you only have 2 choices. You either chase their dreams or they chase yours. You can't do both. And if you're gonna do both, if they have their own dreams and you have your own dreams, just know that you're gonna spend a lot of time away from each other. But as long as you guys know that you can meet in the middle, and when it's you both, it's gonna be intimate, it's gonna be exclusive, and it's gonna be purposeful, and that's what matters the most, right? Like, we're all here to make a difference, and you only find your purpose by making mistakes and by trying new things. Like, just go out there, do your thing, and you know, I still got a long ways to go. We all got a long ways to go. We're barely getting started. We've been in this music shit for 20 years now. And we got our shit out there, you know what I mean? Go check out our shit. It's on all platforms, you know? Our shit's still popping. If the radio picked us up today, our shit would be number one. I fucking guarantee it. I guarantee if any of our songs were picked up by a radio, I guarantee they'd be be number one. I guarantee you probably have more number ones than Drake and fucking Michael Jackson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Amen to that. And you see why Freddie was in the group. All right, y'all. Peace out. Take care. Subscribe to the Ozone Lair for more media. Later.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
Nice.
Freddie, you riding with me, bro?
Simon.
All right, because I got to go pick up my babies.
You going with him?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to go too?